This lesson introduces access or visibility modifiers. So access modifiers can be used to specify visibility of a class and then its data field. So most limited visibility modifier is private. Next one is what we call as a default if we don't use any modifier. Next one is protected. Normally we use it with inheritance. We haven't covered that yet. Last one is most visible to the rest of the world, what we call it as a public. So default, I will keep it inside because we don't use anything. Depends on modifiers. I will introduce multiple columns, then explain to you one by one. So first one is public, and then protected, and then default. The last one is private. So the first one we are looking at whether we have access to data field or members with this in same class. If you look at here, all modifiers has access to everything. Sometimes we group certain classes together on the same package. So let's look at here access from the same package. Again, public has access to everything. Protected, yes. Default, yes. Private, no. It has access to only its own class. So access from subclasses, again, we will deal with details when we introduce inheritance. Answer is public protected has access it. Default and private does not. The last one is access from different package. Idea is something we can declare only public has access to members in this class. Otherwise, it doesn't have any access. Instead of trying to memorize these, look at the examples and then try to understand or try to find the rationale why we need to limit some accessibility to certain members of class, or sometimes we can apply to its own class level as well. So looking at the simple applications dealing with the employee class. I will use the symbol plus protected default. I don't use anything. Private minus symbol. So let's say data field name is will be declared as public. Sharp protected. Then default or no modifier, nothing in there. Private will be declared with minus. So let's look at another class here. So employee class has 4 data field. Okay. Next one we say department. I will not introduce data field. I will just say whether we have access to data field belongs to employee. So let's say whether we can have access to employee object and so on. And then the last one is a customer class. So those are data fields. Let me introduce some methods. I will say public methods. And then M2, method number 3. This one I will declare as a private. Last one I will declare as a get number. Normally public, but I will say protected this time. So we have employee class with a data field and then some examples of methods. Let's say employee and then department class belongs to the same package called package 1. And then the customer class is located in a different package. I will just say package number 2. Again, these decisions will be made based on business rules. So just assume that we have 3 classes. Somehow we divide into 2 packages. Okay, let's see, instead of introducing new data field in department class, let's focus on whether we have access to employee class. So here we say employee object called E, whether we can access to this object in department class. Answer is we can access to employee class or employee class object. And then can we have access to data field directly? The first one is name because it's declared as a public. Do we have access to a department? Yes, we do. Age is declared as a default modifier. Yes, we still have access to age. But if you look at employee number, it's declared as a private, so we have no access to it. it has its access to its own class only. So M1, M2, again, same modifier applied to public default. Yes, we have access to that method. And then second one, default, yes. Private, we don't. Protected, get number. Yes, we can access to that method. Or we can say we can invoke that method belongs to employee object. Again, many of them are the software design idea based on business rules. Again, the solution can be anything, but as an example, let me demonstrate how to use a different kind of access modifier in this example. Let me make some minor adjustment here. Normally, department has its own data field. For this example, we're just looking at whether we have access to employee object, and then employee objects instance variable, or the data field belongs to employee class. Okay. So let me look at customer class. So we have a customer class that try to access the employee object and then department objects. Let's see whether we have access to everything or not. Again, everything we declare as, if you look at the class level, we declare as with the default modifier. I did not put anything in front of employee, department, and customer class. So that assume that that's the requirement. We should be able to access the employee object, but we won't be able to access the department object. That's why I put as yes and no. Okay, employee objects, we have a very limited access to certain things, like employee name, department name, the employee belongs to. Somehow age has no access to age because it's default modifier. We have access to only with this in package. And then of course we have no access to employee number, but we still have access to public, the public method called M1. Again, default methods or method declared with default has no access to it. M3 is again is a private. Of course, we have no access. Last one is protected. let me draw it again. So we have a second package with a single class called customer. So let me quickly have a look whether everything is okay. So first one okay, department, age, number seems okay. Method number 1, 2, 3. Get number supposed to be no. So probably we have access to everything. Yes, yes, yes. So let me put green as a public modifier has access to, can be accessed from same class or same package or from subclass or different package. So all correct. Protected has access from same class, of course, and then same package, and then from subclass we didn't cover it yet. And then we are looking at access from different package. Of course we don't have. So let me look at here. Answer is yes, green. Yes. And then if you look at the last one, that is not correct. So department is declared as a public, sorry, a protected. Should be no. So basically saying data field called name declared in employee class has no access from a different package. And the last one was the same answer. e.getNumber has no access from different package. So those two things should be adjusted. Okay, yes, and then that should be no. Again, let me use the red color. And then look at the default modifier for age. We have access to yes and no and no. So default gives us again most common behavior. We have access to age. Data field, we also have access to methods within the same package, but we have no access to that outside the package. The last one is private. Again, private is most important things. When you design your data field, it should be declared as a private. So information can be hidden, or we call it as the encapsulations. So we have no access to it. So everything is no. Only way to access that data within that object, you supposed to be using protected or public methods belongs to that employee class. Let's create a new project. Then let's look at the example. So here, let me begin with the employee class. So class name should be employee. Package name, be careful, is on the package number 1. Here the first one plus symbol refers to public. So I will declare name as a string, data type. For demonstration, I will put some default value, John Smith. Next one is protected. Again, string department. Let's say IT department. Age, I'm using default modifier because I'm not specifying anything. 20 years old. Last one is employee number. I'll just say private. That should be declared as int. So according to data fields, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to make a very simple methods. Again, I need at least 4 of them. So public void method number 1. I'm going to print employee name. Next one, I will say default. So void method number 2. And then print, I think I'll just print age, because age declares a default. Private M3. Print number again. The last one is protected. This time I'm using same name. Exact name. So getter and then setter. So get number normally declares a public, but we are going to use a protected. Means we have access to number data field with the same package. Normally it is public. Second one, we are going to use a department class. Again, I'm not declaring its own data field or methods. For simple demonstration, we are going to look at employee object. Then whether we have access to that object's methods or data field belongs to employee object. Of course, the first one we have access to employee class object because it's declared as a public. If you look at it, employee class is declared as a public class employee. The second one, do we have access to name? Yes, we do, because it's declared as a public. Next one, do we have access to age? Yes, we do. It's protected because department is still on the same package. Again, department also same. But even though it's on the same package, if you look at one more thing here, employee number, we have no access to employee number directly because it's declared as a private. That's why we need to have a method called getNumber. So let me put it here, cannot access. Everything is can access. So let's look at M1, M2, M3. M1, either M2, but again, you cannot see M3. It means that you have no access to M3 methods. Then you still have access to get number because it's protected. So with this insane package, you have access to all data field and then methods. If set the data field and the method declare as a private. You have access to 20. The last one is get number. Here, yes, you do. It's protected. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one is customer. So we have a customer class. This time declares package number 2. Again, idea is like this. You have access to certain employee data, but there are certain things you won't be able to access. So think about it. When you go to a restaurant, someone serve you your order, and then once you process it, then when you're looking at the receipt, you may be able to see employee name. But again, sometimes you can see the department name as well. But again, usually what you can see is the person who served your order. So employee name only, even though employee object has everything to do with her or him. That's the idea. So let's say customer class, we are going to looking at the here department. Again, we have nothing in the department. Let's say the department is declared as a default. Then here, do we have access to department? We don't. So let me comment it out. Because department is declared in package 1 and customer is declared in package number 2. Sometimes we like to separate the classes so it has its own access, or it has access to its own classes only. So here we have access to E name because it's declared as public. Sorry. Age and department. So name, yes, we have. Age default, we have no access to that. And then department, in this case, we have no access to department. So we won't be able to print IT. And then the last one is employee number. Again, we have no access to that. So that's why when you're looking at the receipt, we have that machine's serial number only instead of the employee number only. If you think about it, it makes sense. We have minimum informations so that when something goes wrong with the order, maybe overcharged somehow, or something is still missing, then you can go back to the counter and you can ask the question so that the manager may bring the employee, that person who served the customer, then ask the question, is this correct or not, so that we can serve the customer properly, and so on. That's the situation we are looking at here. And then here, employee M1, of course we have access to it, but everything else we have no access to. Those methods belongs to employee class. So kind of minimum. So we can, as long as we declare proper modifier with the data field we have in employee, we can have a certain visibility outside the employee class. So what we can do is, whether we're using data field directly or methods, we can have a minimum or limited access to employee data at this point. That is actually important for software development. So customer is public. This is the declared as a default. Again, normally class is declared as a public or default. We use a 4 different access modifier for data field, and then different modifier for methods, and then quickly demonstrate whether we have access to employee class from department class within the same package, or customer class outside or different package. Please go ahead and have a look, and instead of memorizing it, try to think about the different classes, and then thinking about business rules may apply to those classes. Most important thing is usually pick up the business practice. Thank you.